Okay. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Starting with some Retributor armor now.
Oh.
So it's not all just blue and grey.
So, getting back into we on the break, me and Tash had a little bit of a chat about things and stuff, and we were like, hey, why don't we make the warp and also psychers some of the things we can have a chat about while we do this. So in that vein, I will get back to Tzeentch and stop trying to give like backdrop for the setup of talking about Tzeentch. So we talked about a little bit about the warp and how the chaos gods exist and manifest and everything. I think that's enough. We can now talk about Tzeentch. So Tzeentch is essentially they all have their own kind of like negative and positive aspects of the chaos gods. So for example, Khorne is like anger, rage, war, conflict, etc. But he's also like honor, you know, like there's the honor in combat type stuff as well, which is like technically speaking a positive aspect of Khorne, maybe. It's hard to say. Sorry, I was just looking at so Tzeentch is like change, evolution, betrayal, intrigue, ambition, knowledge, magic, sorcery, psychers, etc. He kind of fucks around with all of that shit. He's also basically a giant bird. Like, you know, I know the
Is he actually a giant bird?
He's not.
Oh, I just got gold on that. Oops. Well, that bit's gonna be you know, right at the front. Perfect. Thanks, self.
There you go. A little bit of gold.
Great.
So yeah, he's kind of the whole thing about Tzeentch is, you know, we joke about the stoner pretending that he meant to do that. But he's like the thing that's appealing about Tzeentch, and the reason why I like Tzeentch, and just as a sidebar, because we haven't really gotten into it yet, I have a note in my notes which literally just says, don't talk about the Thousand Suns because that will be its own episode.
Oh, I have their paint color.
I love the Thousand Suns. They're my boys.
Are you determined it's going to be its own episode?
I mean, like we could do multiple episodes on like characters in 40k. So a faction, like fuck yeah, easy. You know, like essentially we talk about Magnus, the Red, and Araman, and some of the other characters, and all of the shit that the Thousand Suns got up to, and all of the things that went wrong for them because everything goes wrong for everyone. Yeah, there's a crap ton of stuff to talk about. So it's a good thing we have a long form
show.
A long form show that is benefited by just the ability to basically verbally spew non-stop lore information and chatter and whatnot. But yeah, the thing is like I love the Thousand Suns so much that I had to make a note in my notes to not talk about them, because literally as I was talking about Tzeentch, I was like, I should mention the Thousand Suns about how cool and awesome they are, and I'm like, no, to resist. So Tzeentch likes to basically set up a plan that will like come to fruition or completion thousands of years later.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And very very often he'll do things not because it benefits him even, or sometimes people will be like, well, maybe it does benefit him, you just can't see how. But sometimes he just is a schemy asshole to be a schemy asshole, I feel like. He's also a lot about knowledge and understanding. That's, I guess, kind of like one of the positive sides, where it's like attempting to understand everything and gain knowledge and everything like that, which is funny because he's the god. He's like the enigmatic god who no one understands, and part of the point of his existence is to understand things. So that feels like a bit of a contradiction, but sure.
Well, he's just too busy to spend time with people.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
He's just got a new vaporizer and
Don't try to paint
he's got to try that shit out.
Every time you said something, it was like
yeah, I mean he's essentially like I find it hard to talk about Tzeentch and not drift into anime. Because if you've watched any animes, he's essentially the character who there's a dramatic pause and he pushes his glasses up on his nose and then gives all the exposition as to what's like been happening and why and how it was all his plan all along. That's Tzeentch. You know, he's also so all of the Chaos Gods have their own sacred numbers.
Oh, cool.
All of the gods have their own sacred colors.
Right.
They have their greater demons and their lesser demons. We'll get into the demons. I think we'll talk about them. Generally, they have at least one original, like Space Marine, Primarch, Legion chapter who like turned to the dark side and joined them.
Yeah.
For Tzeentch, obviously, it's the Thousand Sons.
The ones you're not going to talk about.
Well, I mean, I didn't talk about them. I just mentioned them. I feel like that's different.
Carry on.
This is like an unknown challenge part of the. It's like try and paint while also try not to laugh.
Yeah.
There's a clickbait title. I tried to paint.
God, it is.
I tried to paint and also try not to laugh.
Try to laugh challenge, mini painting edition. Try not to laugh, that's it.
The result will surprise you.
The result. Here's what they look like now.
Following the current YouTube algorithm trend stuff, it would be I tried to paint, but I also try not to laugh.
That is the current trend, yeah.
I'm sure you see the videos where it's like Minecraft, but I also sit on my chair.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. So yeah, they also each have a rival god, which I was surprised by. I guess I knew, but
I knew that a little bit because if only because Slaanesh doesn't get along with Khorne.
That's what I found so surprising.
Because Khorne wants to kill everything, and Slaanesh can't have the excess if they're dead.
It's true, but also Khorne hates psychers, and Tzeentch is like a big nerd. So, I know. I always saw like the whole Khorne and Tzeentch thing. I was like, they'd probably be rivals, but they're not. Nurgle's rival with Tzeentch, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess.
How is Nurgle the rival?
Well, I guess it's very possible that they were just like, Khorne and Slaanesh hate each other, so I guess the other two rivals would be Nurgle and Tzeentch, and Nurgle and Tzeentch are like, yo, what the fuck? Why?
We have to cancel our weekly hangout session because they say we hate each other.
Well, the only thing I can think is that Nurgle's kind of chunky. He's a bit of a chunky boy.
Okay.
So well, like, bear with me. I have reasons for this.
Yeah.
So maybe Tzeentch was chilling, and Nurgle came around and was like,
Uh-huh.
"Yo, sup?" And Tzeentch was ripping a bong, and it was like super concentrated and quite high and stuff. And Nurgle chilled with him, and they watched cartoons for a little bit. And then he was like, "All right, peace, I'm out." And Tzeentch was like, "Yeah, catch you in class," and then go off. Um, and then Tzeentch realized, motherfucker ate all the Cheetos.
Ugh.
There you go. You're right. Like if you've ever been high, which no one ever has, of course. Um, if you've ever been high, you know how much it sucks to have no food when you get that need for consumption. So this entire like god rivalry war that's been going on for millennia
It's
is
because of
is
nachos.
is because fucking Nurgle bogarted the nachos. Yeah.
To be fair, I nearly had a villain origin story when someone ate my pizza.
Hey, look, if someone tries to take my bacon, I will stab a bitch.
I cried.
Yeah.
I was having a bit of a time and I really wanted that pizza and it wasn't there and I was so sad.
I
Villain
felt
origin story.
I felt pretty bad last night. We we
Why?
we we were prepping for I don't know if you saw it, but when we were like having a chat about the show today, I said I was gonna get a Pizza Hut because there wasn't much open.
Uh-huh.
And then we like kind of went our separate ways, and I sent you a message all in caps that was like,
Oh
"It's
yeah, you
closed."
shot. Yeah.
It like literally as I was as I
Ordering.
as I was ordering, I hit the like go to order thing, and it was like, "This will be a pre-order." I'm like, "Motherfucker."
No. Sorry.
It's not all bad because Pizza Hut pizzas are kind of eh.
I mean, I couldn't afford to eat, so I would have pizza that lasts me a few days.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
like the
totally.
idea of pizza makes me sick, but I eat it.
Yeah.
I like it when I'm eating it. And at the time, I really wanted that damn pizza.
I mostly it's like you know what's really weird, and this is again maybe just you can throw this in the outtakes, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we keep going off tangent, but you know
Yeah,
what? It's all in
well,
Tzeentch's plan.
it's all in Zinja's plan, don't worry. Uh, to draw a really bizarre comparison, it's like people who say they only read Playboy for the articles. I only order Pizza Hut and Domino's for the sides.
What in comparison?
Right? It's really apt.
Why would that be your comparison?
Because it's embarrassing to order pizza from shitty pizza places.
It's
But
embarrassing
if,
for them. Tell them that they're a bad pizza place.
but if they have good sides, then you can say, yeah, I got a pizza, but it was for the sides.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I bought a Playboy, but I just want to read the articles because I'm intellectual.
I can't. I'm trying not to. Okay. I'm sure that's a real issue that a lot of people have for
I'm sure they have lots of issues.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the serialization.
You know, they could get them online. Then they wouldn't have to explain it to people.
What, pizza or porn?
Yes.
Okay. I love the idea. I love the idea of a delivery guy like turning up at your thing and just handing over porn, and you're like, I only read it for the articles.
Anyway,
Oh.
Tzeentch.
So yeah, Zinch.
Tzeentch.
Um, so the thing that powers Zinch is the desire for change.
Mm-hmm.
The dreams also, like he's a big dream dude where he's like, anyone who ever thinks about being more successful, being more popular, being, the owner of a popular pornography magazine, like anything
God.
along those. What?
move on from that one. No fixating on plot.
I'm not.
This is
I moved. I moved immediately on. You pulled us up to focus on the fact.
stop it.
So maybe you should move on and let me talk about Tzeentch.
Okay.
So.
Oh, this is why I don't like painting in certain ways. I've just got gold on top of the blue, and I'm so annoyed because I don't know how I'm going to clean it.
Okay. So Tzeentch. Yeah, so dreams and hopes and change and knowledge, like these type of things. Look, very often, interestingly, he'll go for people in like moderate positions of power. So, you know, like
Yeah, because then they can, if they have the idea of wanting to, I guess.
well, I mean, like if you're a planetary governor, why not the governor of multiple planets, or
Yeah.
why not like an independent ruler, like some form of king or emperor, you know?
Ooh, that's a
Yeah.
dangerous line of
And
thinking.
well, the thing is as well is like they kind of play into each other, where essentially your desires and your dreams and your aspirations lead to change.
Yeah.
You know, like someone who's stuck in a dead end office job dreams of being, you know, a star basketball player or some shit, and so you know, the impetus for that change is, you know, when he decides I'm going to follow my dreams, and then realizes that he's 5 foot tall. So yeah, it all kind of like feeds and powers Tzeentch. I haven't actually been able to find. I think maybe it's just not canon.
Mm-hmm.
I think Khorne is the oldest, like
Right.
original. Like I think he was the first Chaos God.
Okay.
Maybe the first one to like take form or become like.
Aware and like, or people aware of.
Yeah, I've also seen allusions to it being Tzeentch, and I've seen allusions to it being Nurgle. It's possible that they're all true
Yeah.
because it's been written differently depending on who's writing the lore and the details. So I feel like it would be Nurgle. Just
Really?
purely because even if you're not particularly like giving a shit about knowledge, even if you're not particularly trying to kill your neighbor, you still get sick.
Yeah. True.
So I feel like Nurgle also it plays in with the whole grandfather Nurgle thing, which we'll get into when we talk about Nurgle. Well, one of his names is Grandfather Nurgle. He's like, technically speaking, he's the nicest Chaos God.
They're not nice.
I mean, no, they're really not.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I feel like.
I found it.
Yeah. Oh, I was.
He
agree
was
with you. It's probably Nurgle.
he was the second Chaos God.
Who, Nurgle?
No, Tzeentch.
Oh.
So Tzeentch.
That's interesting.
Tzeentch took form or became the embodiment of like change in the warp around about I would say around about the Crusades time in real Earth time. So when there were like knights and castles and like all that type of hoopla going on, that's kind of when Tzeentch
makes sense.
Took form. I'm guessing
you'd have thought that Khorne would have been birthed by then. Like, there's been plenty of.
Yeah, I mean that may have been why Tzeentch was second, was because that's, you know.
Oh, so Nurgle wasn't first?
I don't know. I could look and find out. but I don't have that in front of me because somehow I always manage to. You know what you know what it might be is I think probably during the whole Crusades and etc. That's when Khorne was born, and then Tzeentch probably turned up about the time of the Renaissance, and then Nurgle probably turned up during the whole Black Death thing. At a guess, like that's kind of how I see Games Workshop's brain working.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because even when like we were, I don't know, and then I start going off on tangents like when we were evolving to be like people will be sick and people will fight and people will like we don't need to be sort of at a certain level of technological advancement or humanity. And then the Necrontyr were similar to humanity, and yet they didn't birth any gods. I don't know. It's kind of
It's very human-centric, you know.
Yeah, that's where my brain was going whilst I'm painting and trying not to move too much. But what do you think on those points?
I know. I think.
I feel like if the Eldar can birth Slaanesh,
yeah.
Why can other races not have impacted and brought sort of Nurgle or Tzeentch or to the?
I think like so. Essentially, I think it's probably along the lines of humanity just has more intense desires and passions and etc. Which probably leads to more of a like fluctuation, warp, and the ability to create more. I think what it actually is it's more relatable in terms of like reading a story when it has when it's kind of like related to humanity and stuff. But that's like outside of lore things essentially.
Sorry, I know that was a little bit of a tangent, but I'm like,
no, it's valid. And I don't think it's
And I assumed it would be because like humans can relate to humans, but it was worth an ask.
Yeah, like so. The general consensus, as far as I can tell, is that Khorne is the oldest Chaos God, but some people say it's Nurgle. And exactly as expected, it's probably all part of Tzeentch's plan. There are references to Nurgle being the oldest god in some codexes and books and etc.
Right.
So it's very much a case of like, you know, up to you, really. Like choose your own answer, really. Yeah. But Tzeentch is the second, as far as I can tell, and turned up in kind of like medieval times. And like he has a tendency to like to get involved in political machinations and all the whatnots. He doesn't have as much as of like a ham-fisted approach, you know, like Nurgle will turn up on the planet. You can kind of tell because everyone has boils and is scratching themselves.
It's time for a plague.
Yeah. You know, Khorne turns up on a planet, and you can kind of tell because everyone's like murdering each other and like really angry. It's, you know, like maybe everyone's putting other people's bread in their fridge, and he's like, that's gonna be a
blood
weird
feud.
That's a weird cut because people won't get that.
They won't know the break story.
Yeah. That's my bad. I shouldn't reference break chatter. And of course, Slaanesh. Well, we can tell where Slaanesh is. Hollywood. Oh, unfortunate but true.
Because of the excess.
Yeah, the excess. Well, I mean, like I would have said if they were doing it based on human history, Slaanesh would have turned up during the fall of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Which is what I think the Eldar is a analogy for is the fall of the Roman Empire. Just my own thoughts on it.
Ow, ow, ow. I'm getting pain from being sat. Ow. Stretch.
It's very easy to settle into a position and just be like, yep.
Yeah, I keep being like, oh, this hurts so much, but I'm painting this tiny little bit and I can't move.
Yeah. See, I would say if we're going by like big moments in human history and whatnot, I would say like most likely Khorne would turn up first, probably in the like early Egyptian times. And then Nurgle would turn, or like even pre-Egyptian, you know, kind of like what the hell were the people before the Egyptians? I can't remember. Babylonians, etc. They had a lot of like sacrificing and war and whatnot. You know, that's always fun. And then probably Nurgle would turn up next.
Yeah, I mean, imagine there was probably
Like the
plenty.
plagues in Egypt and all that type of jazz. Like, you know, there you go. A little bit of Nurgle going around. And famine and everything, of course. And then I would say probably Tzeentch would turn up after that in like the Greek era. All the philosophers and all the searching for truth and, you know, etc. And then Slash turns up at the fall of the Roman Empire, and there you go. That's when they turn up and things like that. But no, apparently not. Apparently Khorne's the oldest, and Tzeentch turned up in the medieval ages for no apparent reason. It's like, okay, whatever. But yeah, Tzeentch likes to jump in, and the way it's described, you're off camera a little bit, by the way.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult. I'm trying to like find the balance. I did just move when you
As I said it, you were moving.
Yeah.
Okay, crap. I didn't need to mention it.
I kind of looked at a reference picture and I was like, oh yeah, I see. But I'm off cam.
Yeah. So the kind of narrative of Tzeentch is his schemes are so complex and complicated and intricate, and you know, he weaves webs of schemes, and it touches everyone whether they realize it or not. And sometimes I just, you know, as I said before, sometimes I just wonder if that's just some bullshit. And you know, like it's like the whole God works in mysterious ways, where you're like, if anything happens, you can just chalk it up to, you know,
Tzeentch.
It's like, oh my God, Tzeentch, you're so clever. And he's like, he's like on his couch with a sandwich like halfway to his mouth, and like part of the sandwich filler like falls off onto the floor because he's paused, being like, wait, what did I do?
Tzeentch
like,
is the guy who doesn't help with the group project.
Yeah.
But it all comes together.
But it all comes together and works out, and it's like somehow Tzeentch gets all the credit, and it's like, wow, great job, dude. And he's like, exactly as planned.
Fucking Tzeentch. Your favorite.
I do. I love Tzeentch because I love the whole intrigue and mystery, and you know, like I'm so tempted to get into one of my more favorite Tzeentch stories, but we're gonna hold off on it for now.
Oops, I keep hitting the magnifying glass because I'm trying to get even closer to this.
Well, one of the interesting things about Tzeentch is no one really knows what his goal is.
Get high.
Well, yeah, I mean, aside from obviously smoking a fatty.
Such a weird decision that we've made about Tzeentch.
Well, we have to. I'm sure Steve will turn up at some point. Fucking Steve. It's all his fault. It turns out that he's the delivery boy for
Deliveroo.
No, when Tzeentch orders his weed, Steve turns up with a pizza, and he's like, "Oh, it's."
I ordered this 3 million years ago.
that's who ordered the pizza. Oh my God, it was the fall of the Necrontyr was all part of Tzeentch's plan.
to get pizza.
Even though he technically did exist at that time.
Well, how do you know?
Because of the timelines. I literally just got done mentioning that Tzeentch turned up in medieval human times.
Well, tough.
I guess like ultimately all of the Chaos Gods' plans are to overthrow the other Chaos Gods.
Really? Well, I guess because they want all the
power for themselves.
But that's something really difficult to do when, let's say, if you kill people off to get rid of Khorne, then you're feeding into his power, and if you plan and try and just what's the word I'm reaching for, where it's you plan things surreptitiously.
Devious?
Yeah. Well, if you make secret plans to try and overthrow Slaanesh, then you're playing into Tzeentch's plans and
Yeah. If you just concentrate on one way to destroy Slaanesh, then you're, Yeah, no, it's and that's one of the funny things about the Chaos Gods that makes me laugh is, and the whole 40K universe and everything is like, there's an evil Chaos God. Okay, who is he? It's like he's Khorne, the god of war, the Chaos God of war and rage and destruction. What should we do? Let's destroy him. It's like 5,000 years later. Sir, it's only making him stronger. Okay, add more men. Keep fighting. Sooner or later we'll win. And it's like, it's like well thought out there, guys. But then again, in 40K, there's really no choice except for, when some angry orcs turn up and they're like, have at the heathens, which is how orcs talk.
Right, I'm sure.
It's very hard to say, like, you know what, we'll just back off and let them have the planet. We won't fight because that will make Khorne stronger. And then they turn up at the next planet and you're like, all right, you're taking the piss now. Like, we literally gave you that planet. We walked away. We were cool with it. And now you want this one.
Well,
and
we just want a good scrap. That's what the orcs want.
Yeah, pretty much.
Haha, I learned things.
There you go. We haven't even done the orcs yet.
We haven't done the orcs. They're good scrap.
But yeah, it's essentially it's just the Chaos Gods essentially boil down to the trope of bad guy is powerful, wants more power, because it's
reasons.
Well, it's a setting of war and evil and war. It would be kind of boring if you had evil Chaos Gods who didn't really want anything. They were kind of chill. It was like, Tzeentch, finally we meet. I will put a stop to your evil machinations. And Tzeentch is like...
Machinations, that's the word.
There you go. Your evil machinations. And Tzeentch is like, nah, I'm good. I was like, what? I was like, no, I'm chill. I don't really have any plans or anything. I'm just kind of,
Fun out, man.
Yeah. I was birthed by humanity, and honestly, I'm quite happy to sit here and let you guys get on with it. I won't get in the way. I'll just watch and
carry on.
If if you need a hand, if you need like a lift to the shops or something, I'm happy to help. But aside from that, like, you just bring me some Cheetos when you come visit next time. We're chill. Nurgle ate all of mine.
Bloody Nurgle.
But no, Tzeentch obviously wants to like all the others do, wants to overthrow the other Chaos Gods, but probably will never be able to, and he probably knows that. But sometimes it's not the action, it's the journey. It's how you get there.
Sometimes it's a good old fight.
Yeah, and hey, if it eventually ends out to work that Tzeentch wins and destroys all the other Chaos Gods, he can say exactly as planned.
Exactly as planned. I knew this was going to happen all along.
He just walks into their shared flat, and Korn, Slanesh, and Nurgle are dead, and it's like partially burned down. And he walks in, and like the camera zooms in on his eyes as they shift back and forward, and it's just like perfect, exactly as I hoped. And then it just like does the Looney Tunes fade out, like da 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 da.
This is such a. I don't even know.
So the claim is that Tzeentch knows a lot more than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially through sorcery and like gathering knowledge and all this type of thing. It's said that he can see fate and see the like strands of possibility through time.
Oh.
So he can kind of like he's got a little bit of an Eldar about him, you know, where he's like, oh, these are the possibilities. If I like throw a meteor at that planet, a planet on the other side of the galaxy will set fire to a forest that will eventually lead to a kid who lived near the forest becoming an evil overlord that controls 50,000 planets. And you're like, what? How does that work? And he's like, don't question it. I know everything. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking? You're high again.
I'm still gonna do it. Bloody chaos. Yeah, because I wanted to say then the Eldar copy him, but he copies them.
I mean, yeah,
Because-
it's the thing is Tzeentch has never got his hand cut off because he thought he knew what he was doing.
Because he does know what he's doing.
I would say even if he's copying the Eldar, which I'm not sure about on that one, he does it better. So it's a case of the original being better than the. It's a case of the copy being better than the original. I guess
he's learned from their mistakes. We scry very much in advance.
Yeah.
And we don't scry. We just look at it.
And this also it leads a little bit of credence to the idea that he doesn't actually know anything and he doesn't know what's going on, because when the Eldar try it, it doesn't work out a lot of the time.
Well, you only hear about the bad times, don't you?
Well, I only told you the bad times because because you don't like the Eldar, and I thought you'd enjoy that more.
I started to feel bad for the Eldar.
They did have a really rough time of it. Oh, poor Eldar.
No.
No?
Just one or two.
Just a couple, yeah.
Like one or two craft worlds.
I will admit, I specifically picked out the guy, the Eldar who lost his hand to the Necron, because I thought you'd really enjoy that story.
Well, I did really enjoy that story. It's not even the thing, but
it's
damn right.
It's in the extra layers for anyone curious. So that video will come out eventually, and you can listen to the story and get the same amount of glee Tash got from a poor guy getting his hand cut off and basically being shamed for all eternity.
He had a lot of options.
Yeah, he chose the worst one every time as well. Hubris. Tzeentch also likes to. The colors of Tzeentch, interestingly, seeing as you're painting Tzeentch, are. I'm not. This is why I was laughing earlier randomly, because I saw this and I was like, that makes no sense. Blue and gold.
Yeah.
Or ever-changing rainbow.
Ever-changing rainbow. I mean, this guy has a lot of colors that are going to happen because he has like pink and purple wings, gold, sort of armor and such, and then he has blue panels, blue skin. What other colors have I had to prepare? So many.
It just made me laugh that his colors are blue and gold, or an ever-changing rainbow, because I presume that blue and gold are in there, kind of, if it's an ever-changing rainbow, There's probably blue and gold in there. Why would you settle for just blue and gold?
Mm.
Just commit to
Sometimes
the
you want to be a
rainbow,
bit
motherfucker.
understated. And
Tzeentch? Like, look at what you've painted so far. Do you think Tzeentch is ever understated?
Depends how high he is.
That motherfucker glitters in gold. Oh, deep cut.
That is the wrong universe.
Still though.
Oh.
So I just want to highlight one of the descriptions in in my research I did. One of the places that describes Tzeentch and his whole like shtick starts with perhaps, which I think is beautiful for a like
what?
Perhaps.
Oh, I had Paps. I was like, what the heck's
sorry.
Paps when it's home?
Paps Blue Ribbon. Like because when you get super high, sometimes you just want to get drunk too. No, it says. I just find it hilarious that the people writing the lore can't say for sure what Tzeentch is doing or why. So that when they're like talking about Tzeentch, they're like, perhaps he's doing this, but who knows? So it says, perhaps the Architect of Fate has plans to overthrow the other Chaos powers, or to extend his dominion over all the mortal realms. Perhaps not. Even Tzeentch himself can't say for sure. Whatever his ultimate goal, he seeks to achieve it by manipulating the individual lives of human and Xenos alike. Like, that explains nothing about Tzeentch. I find it hilarious. It's like, maybe he's planning a renovation of his house. Maybe he wants to burn it down. We'll only know when it happens. It's like, okay, so what you're telling me is we know nothing.
Yeah. Well, the Chaos Gods work in mysterious and confusing ways.
And say that to Khorne. Khorne turns up and just burns your house down, and you know where you stand with him because your house is burned down, and you're standing outside and he's punching you in the face.
Right.
So not all of them work in mysterious ways. Our conversation about Khorne when we do Khorne will literally just be like, yeah, so Khorne hates shit.
I bet Khorne's like a proper jock.
Yeah. Which is why I thought that Khorne would be the rival to Tzeentch, because
Tzeentch is the like
clearly the
nerd.
Slaanesh is the cheerleader.
You know what? Maybe Tzeentch helped him out with the homework one time.
Maybe
saved him from being kicked out of his football scholarship.
I think. Oh, of course, Khorne has a football scholarship. That's
hockey,
Yeah, we're building a narrative where they're 4 college students sharing a flat, and just everything went wrong from there.
Yeah, Tzeentch used to be a high achiever. Then it had some freedoms. And
he's a burnout. Like he got a scholarship himself, but he burned out, and he just.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he went partying one too many times with Slaanesh.
Oh God, yeah.
Slaanesh is the cheerleader, right? I think we
party animal, and that's why Khorne and Slaanesh don't get along because
Yeah.
Tzeentch can't help with homework anymore.
Where the fuck does Nurgle fit in though? Is he
Keeps eating everyone's food out of the fridge? Like putting rotten eggs back in the fridge. Doesn't recycle.
No, Nurgle's the guy who you never know exactly how he got in the house, but you keep finding him passed out in your bathtub. And you're not 100% sure if he lives with you or not, and you're scared to ask.
Does he pay any rent? I don't know.
But every time you smell something and you're like, that's weird, you're like, oh, I wonder.
Fucking guy again.
Yeah, like he's left half a fish under a bed somewhere, and.
What? Okay, well, this is very weird but fun.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to you have to build a narrative to understand something,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's what we've done today
The
so
college
far.
students.
The college students, yeah.
And oh god, the emperor is like the prefect who keeps trying to tell them how to live, man.
Um,
Or like the the uh the the floor manager.
I would say the Emperor's like the overachieving freshman. Who like the Chaos Gods were all like big men on and women on
Mm-hmm.
campus. Like living the life, and then the Emperor turns up, and suddenly like the Golden Boy,
Yeah.
like literally,
Literally.
he becomes the star quarterback on the sports team. He's a scholarship boy. Like he gets into the field that Tzeentch is
Oh my
in, and
god.
like messes it up.
Causes
Becomes
some
a
havoc.
becomes the male cheerleading captain on the cheer team, and then I don't know, pisses Nurgle off somehow. Starts cleaning up.
He's like the post-it note friend who like you can't have any of the food because he's sellotaped it shut and left post-it notes.
He starts a cleaner Earth campaign, and like organizes everyone into recycling and stuff, and pisses Nurgle off. Nurgle's like, what the fuck?
Damn
And
it,
then
Emperor.
they all get together to take that cocky bastard down. There's probably like a scene where they all go to a chalet in like on a ski trip,
Yeah.
and they have like a race down the slopes, and the Emperor wins and gets the girl, and like there's sad music.
How could this happen to me?
That's exactly how it goes. It sounded like you were doing the "How could this happen to me," but to the scales, do re mi fa sol.
Yeah.
How could this happen to me?
Well, I think it worked well.
La ti do.
That's a weird aside. I don't even remember how this started.
Oh, me neither, actually, to be honest. But I enjoyed the ride, much
Me
like
too.
you know what? We planned this. Yeah. At the big before the show, we were like, at some point, we're going to go into a massive tangent that,
Doesn't make any sense.
yeah, about university students being chaos gods. So here we are.
There you go.
It seemed like it was complete randomness, but actually, this is what we wanted to happen.
This is just our conversations, to be honest, isn't it?
Now let's go smoke a bowl.
Not my conversation anymore.
Yeah. So Tzeentch likes psychers.
Likes them or likes them like the Emperor likes them for breakfast?
He's kind of the patron of psyker, sorcery, fuckery, like all that type of like. When people tap into the warp and they're like, "Ding dong, hello, can I like move this with my mind?" Tzeentch is like, "Fuck yeah, boy, do some more of that shit." I got super high once and thought I was a Jedi, so I think anyone who has partaken of a little marijuana has at one point in time tried to Jedi move things with their mind.
Honestly, when I'm just a bit tired and I can't be bothered standing up, I'd consider it. I'm like, wouldn't it be
like
great?
reach out and kind of like
Give it a try. Maybe it's just happened since the last time.
Sooner or later, it'll just
it'll work one time, and no one will be around to see it.
Yeah. So yeah, psychers. Tzeentch loves the psychers. He probably eats them too. But that's just kind of like chaos in general. Is they have a tendency to they give gifts to their followers, but very often the gifts, especially with Nurgle, tend to be a little bit of a two-edged sword, depending on your perspective.
Yeah.
You become like a all-powerful entity who can like crush worlds in his fist, but you also get like a beak and two heads, which you end up arguing with the other head all the time. It's a fucking nightmare. Sorry, Kairos.
Kairos.
But yeah, a lot of psychers tend to fuck with
Yeah,
Tzeentch.
like go. That makes sense.
So, some of them enjoy a little Slanesh time, but you know.
I was gonna be like, who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
And I guess because psychers kind of feed off the warp and everything, like I don't know. I think there's an argument to be made that Tzeentch is the most powerful chaos god.
Yeah.
I'm sure people would disagree with that,
Yeah,
but I
lots of different thoughts, isn't there? So
yeah, it's
well, just because he has psychers on side, or like
well, just because he has psychers on side, but also because it's kind of all channeling the warp, and you know, like he's also very much into knowing a whole load of shit, which means that he has a tendency to see the bigger picture where some of the other chaos gods may not, and kind of plans for that, and you know, Korn will fuck up a planet just because it pissed him off, or you know, he noticed it. Um, whereas you usually you won't know why, but you'll always be aware of the fact that if Tzeentch makes an action or manipulates a thing, if you even notice it, you'll be like, okay, there's a reason behind this, and we'll find out in 50 years or 200 years, or you know.
never.
So yeah, it's kind of like he'll start a scheme like 1,000 years before it actually starts doing anything.
Pyramid scheme.
And it's
Oh, sorry, I have to keep stopping and stretching.
I think he's also a bit more manipulative influency than some of the like they're all manipulative influency, I guess, but he if you ever have that image of like you know like a devil and angel on the shoulder like whispering into the ears of humanity, like
yeah,
Tzeentch would be the devil basically being like, you know, and sometimes even the angel maybe.
yeah,
Just
because they can seem like it's helpful in the moment.
yeah, like even if it is a good thing, you know, like
Yeah, just beneficial for him eventually too.
yeah, yeah. Which is one of the things I kind of like about Tzeentch is, you know, like it's one thing to convince people to start a drug cult and you know slowly like corrupt the entire planet into this huge orgy of drugs and alcohol and excess essentially. But it's kind of impressive to convince someone to do a good thing, and then eventually the whole planet falls to chaos, and everyone's like, "How did we get here? We're trying to recycle." So yeah.
Haha. You didn't know how to recycle the lithium ion batteries that you put in your car. Got him.
Got him. What you don't know is I was the one who revealed to your scientists how to even build those lithium batteries. Everything is my machinations.
Oh god.
Yeah, like he'll kind of like whisper in people's ears and be like, "Yo, sorcery is cool."
Mm.
You know, like here's some forbidden knowledge that no one knows, and they're like, "Ooh, interesting." He's like, "All you got to do is, you know, kind of big me up and maybe give me a little bit of that soul, yo." I would also say like invariably people reference the kind of more knowledge nerdy side of things, but it's also very definitely power, like kind of political
Uh-huh.
and like
Wow.
he's very much in that domain more than a lot of the others. Like a lot of Khorne and Slaneshi cults will come from the lower echelons of society.
Yeah.
They don't really care who kind of worships them and who forms cults. They'll just be like, fucking numbers, yo.
You're saying that Tzeentch is a bit of a snob.
Tzeentch is a bit of a snob. Like, I'm sure he'll be happy if a whole load of plebs form a cult and they're like, we're gonna teach each other to read, and he's like, okay, let me know how that goes. But I have the feeling like Tzeentch much more prefers, manipulating a politician into
Mm.
corruption and slowly like working at the slightly higher echelons of society, like corrupting the powerful and the
The ones that
as
can, yeah.
yeah, as opposed to the others who are a bit more like they're kind of a bit more basic. They're just happy when they trick people into smoking a doobie or cutting someone's head off. I don't know how you trick someone into cutting someone's head off, but I'm sure it's possible.
It was just a prank, bro.
Maybe a magic trick, like you're at a magic show and
Yeah.
it goes wrong.
People to just put up some like fishing. This is a weird. No, no. Have you seen the film You're Next?
No, but I know of it.
That's good. I like it. My thought of how to cut someone's head off comes from that.
That's a crappy film, right?
Yes.
Like enjoyable, sure, but
Well,
it's
it's a
crappy.
bit different. So like it's just a crappy slasher film.
Yeah.
But the protagonist actually has a clue, which
Oh,
is very pleasant,
well, that's interesting.
and it's pretty good.
Definitely a different way to take it.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, the protagonists in 40K very often don't have a clue. They're just like, it's probably heresy. Let's ignore it.
Oh, we don't talk about heresy because that's heretical, probably.
Yeah.
Can't even think about it. Can't even know about it.
One of the interesting things about one of the reasons I like Tzeentch myself, and not obviously I'm not a worshiper of Tzeentch or anything, clearly. But one of the reasons I enjoy Tzeentch and everyone should convert to Tzeentch and worship him forever is because, like, the other Chaos gods, they have their they have their machinations and they have their kind of vibe and everything, but Tzeentch kind of the people who worship Tzeentch, the people that Tzeentch are interested, people who kind of like move towards like the idea of change and like the desire to win and do well and achieve and go to like work towards greatness and all that type of thing. He also has a tendency to be like, hey, do you wanna not die and be eternally alive?
I just feel
So
that.
there's an aspect of like cowardice as well, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I also enjoy psychers. Psychers are weird and occasionally randomly explode or turn into demons, and that's always fun.
I enjoyed my Psyker. It was just hard work with the rule books. That was my rage.
Definitely.
Definitely. Some anger.
Speaking as a 40K GM who does some, I could say like the most fun and least fun times are always psychers.
Yeah.
Where your psycher's like, I just don't want to open this door. I'm gonna open it with my mind, and then 3 hours later, you're still trying to clean it up the mess that happened from that.
Sorry. Oh dear. No, I enjoyed my astropath. For the
Yeah.
silly.
But like I think the core thing for Tzeentch, which is the reason he's like my favorite Chaos God, and
Hmm.
is he kind of is the actual god of chaos because chaos is change and
Yeah.
and mutation and like all of these kind of things. So he is a chaos god. What's Korn? He's an angry boy who like flunked out of college. Slanesh is, I think, probably the most misunderstood god.
Yeah.
Which isn't Slanesh's fault. It's just how it kind of happened. But you know, you, I get the feeling that Slanesh is kind of sitting there being like, I have a brain, I have a mind, I'm a person, I'm not just sex. And everyone's like, haha, lol.
Blondes
The,
do have more fun.
and then Nurgle just like likes getting people ill, and it's like, okay, that's
That's
great, dude.
mean, bro.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I feel like Tzeentch is the most chaos of the chaos. Like I really enjoy the other chaos gods. Don't get me wrong, but I always felt like Tzeentch was the most actual chaos, as opposed to just kind of like a little bit crazy, maybe.
I don't know, because if he's always planning it, then it's not chaos, is it?
If it causes chaos, then yeah, totally.
Suppose.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking in the true sense of the word chaos. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's you're not wrong either. To be fair, um,
if it's all to plan, then that was the plan.
the cults to Tzeentch have a tendency towards yeah. His cults don't. One of the problems is his cults aren't always as effective as you might think they would be.
Because they're all high.
It's not because they're all high. they're like it's like a super effective scientific team researching new ways to like destroy the galaxy, and Tzeentch turns up and like drops a massive baggie of weed, and they just get nothing done for a couple of centuries because they're super high.
Could be. You don't know. You weren't there.
I wasn't there. It's true. Um, but well, one of the reasons, and you'll pick it up as I say it. One of the reasons why his cults and stuff don't work that well is because he's the god of deception, lies,
I
betrayal,
was thinking, like, because
conspiracy.
once you're aware of it, then you're not as likely to be sort of manipulated and
Well,
deceived and.
it's not even that. It's one of the reasons the corn cults don't always work that well is because they keep killing each other. One of the reasons why the Tzeentch cults don't always work that well is because they keep betraying each other to get power. Like they're all power hungry schemers. That's why they like Tzeentch, because they're power hungry, they scheme and they backstab. So you get a group of them together to do anything. They spend half the time, being shocked that one of their number was murdered.
I can just imagine like a murder mystery party of Tzeentch followers.
They're all Tzeentch
But
followers.
like it keeps coming out that they all planned to kill the person. It's just who got there first, and then it was none of them.
The mystery isn't who wanted to kill the victim. It was who actually succeeded
Dude, yeah,
first.
wait a minute. Do you get credit for that or do I get credit for that?
And like the kind of the Sherlock Holmes difficulty is that there's so much evidence and they're not sure which is the evidence of the actual
Exactly.
murder.
The end is that it was actually. Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, it'd probably actually be the detective if it's a Tzeentch thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the person who turned up and is like, who's the murderer? Is the dude who murdered.
It was the dead person all along. Who is also the detective.
Yeah, it turns out that the guy who murdered was just the detective. And he's investigating his own murder, which he planned himself to frame everyone else and put them in jail.
Yeah.
That's a Tzeentch plot. And then Tzeentch would go, ah, yes, exactly as planned. And then you'd hear the bubbling as he took another rip from his bong.
Why are we like this?
I don't know. I think it's because no one stops us.
I'm out here trying to paint a guy's face. And I'm like, what is this conversation we're having right now? Honestly.
Look, just don't question it, really. That's where I end up on. Yeah.
Anyway.
And obviously because Tzeentch is the Lord of Change,
I think I hit my camera.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Oh, no, it's fine.
Are you holding paint in your mouth again?
No, it's a paintbrush.
Okay.
It's really difficult to paint and keep it in focus, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry, I need to figure this out for next time.
Yeah. Or just it essentially like because he's always because he's in kind of he's the god of change. He shifts and morphs and transforms. He is the most like flexible of the chaos gods as well. Sometimes he'll just be like, I'm gonna do things differently this time. So just when you think you're like, oh, it's Tzeentch, so he'll corrupt some planetary governor and blah blah blah, and then like a cult of fucking bin men who don't who don't like bio in their recycling like turn up and take over the world, and you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Okay, well, fair play.
Tzeentch is like, exactly as planned. So yeah, it's
I think that was another break. Was it a break story?
Yes, that was another break story.
Sorry.
At this point, I'm referencing things that aren't in the video, but are in between the videos when we take our breaks. Just to add to it's a Tzeentch episode. I have to add to the confusion. No one's allowed to understand what we're talking about right now.
That would understand it, and I'm here.
Yeah, I don't understand it, and I'm saying a lot of it. Truly, Tzeentch has blessed this episode. Another thing that is a whole like very common thread for Tzeentch is a lot of his followers don't know that they're followers.
Yeah.
A lot of people will do a whole load of Tzeentchy things and essentially are Tzeentch worshippers. But if you've rocked up to them and you're like, hey, why do you worship Tzeentch? And they're like, who the fuck is Tzeentch? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, why are you doing this? Oh, this dude Dave asked me to. And
Dave, what a bro,
I owed him a favor. Yeah, seriously. So, yeah, he that's his whole shtick, essentially, is like...
So that's why you think he's the most powerful?
Well, I think he's the least obviously powerful, but I also... I think when you look at Tzeentch as a whole, he's got a lot going on, But then again, my argument could be completely torn apart if you just go, but what if he is just a stoner who pretends that he has all of,
Just takes credit for everything.
He just takes credit for everything, and people assume that it's hit. Like, it's like you stub your toe, and you're like, oh, fucking Tzeentch. He must have set this up like 3,000 years ago, and Tzeentch is like,
I mean, do nothing.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I'll take it if people think I'm some like mega genius.
Oh man. Just rewrite the law book. It's fine.
Yeah. Maybe that's how he knows someone someone in Games Workshop who wrote the original, and he got them to write him as like super intelligent and everything.
Maybe.
So, shall we do another?
Another little break? Yep.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't really have a grasp on time currently. But...
Yeah, we're about an hour. So I've done. I think I've done the skin. I've done the gold. Apart from I need to do some highlighting.
Yeah.
And then I can move on to painting the armor panels because they're not supposed to be gold.
Okay.
The wing, the cloth. And then
there's a lot less shouting and swearing at the miniature this time.
Honestly, I did a thing where I was gonna, be really intricate and go on to all these little points like that you can see here, and like paint all the risen bits in gold. And I was like, what if I just paint all of it?
Yeah.
And then paint over the top of it. I am getting frustrated sometimes with this shading, but fuck it, basically. I'm doing my best, but the more I focus on that bit, the worse it looks. And I think sometimes these things just come together. So I'll just keep on going.
Well, through your experience, you get super pissed off with the individual bits, and then you get to the end, and you're like, "Oh, this actually looks okay."
I said that, and then there's like a little bit of gold that I need to do here, but the angles are so awkward at times.
Yeah. Do you want to go?
There we go. Sorry, I just couldn't.
So I looked over, and you're back to painting. I was like, "Oh."
No, it was gold. I wanted to. I want to wash the gold paintbrushes off. So, so when we come back in the next video, I suppose, we'll not talk about Tzeentch's dorm room, I guess.
I can't promise anything.
I guess. That was the non-committal. All right.
Yeah.